because he's taking a day off today.
It popped up in my email, and I was like, "Oh crap! Am I?" Like I'm like, no, wait a minute, no, that's tomorrow.
Are we going live tonight?
Yeah, believe me, that's what I thought. I don't never know what day of the week it is. So, and we had a day game yesterday, so it did feel like a Sunday.
What a marathon that was.
Yeah. It's all right. As long as you win.
We got 45.
45 seconds.
Alrighty. Looking for one more dad. This was hard.
It's our third year doing it.
Really? We've done this before?
I think so,
That's
yeah.
bad?
Any new additions like in the past year, like from TV shows you could say?
We definitely did it the first year. There's no doubt in my mind we did it the first year.
Really? I don't remember. Is that John in the background?
Yeah.
So my possible fifth is a brand new entry. But I'm not sold on it yet. So, but I might end up having to use it. Is that what he just asked? If there's any new ones?
Yes.
New entries, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yo, he screwed that up last week, man. He hit the NFL on Fox theme. I'm sitting there, I'm like, this bastard.
Here we go.
Coming up. Good morning, Philadelphia. Welcome in to Bud Light Baseball Brunch, brought to you by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, powered by Green Legion Radio and 102.5 Fox Sports and Gambler in Philadelphia, where you can listen to us anywhere crystal clear worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. This is Chris Sack of Green Legion Radio, broadcasting to you live from the iHeartRadio studios in Bala Cynwyd, while Murph is enjoying the accommodations in Oakland, California. Murph, happy Father's Day, my friend. How are you doing this morning? Bright and early, by the way.
I'm doing great. Yeah, a little early here, but happy Father's Day to you as well. Yeah, technically in San Francisco, not Oakland. Staying here in San Francisco, making the ride over to Oakland for the games tonight or today. But
smart people there, smart people.
Yeah. It's a beautiful spot, and Phils are playing some great baseball. It's been a lot of fun over the last 2 weeks now. Riding this wave. So hopefully they can keep it up, get a sweep today, and we'll head on back home to Philadelphia to face the NL East after that. But so far so good in the month of June.
Yeah, absolutely. That this West Coast trip has been a lot more kind than the others have been. I know Murph, like, we're going to dive full into this full bore, but I believe it was on last week's show and prior to that 2 weeks ago, where we were looking ahead at the week that was to come. And, like we do always at the end of every show. And we knew once we got through that week against the Tigers, what was coming up with the Dodgers and then having to go to Arizona. I believe I know I've said this to many people leading into that week, because you can win those games against the Nationals. You can win that series. You can sweep that series against the Tigers. You can handle your business against the Oakland Athletics. What they've done over the last week and taking 5 out of 7, 3 games at home against the Dodgers and then 4 on the road to go into Arizona and take 3 out of 4 after losing the first one in a bullpen game. Man, what a phenomenal stretch of baseball the Phillies had in that week between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Everybody wants to point to, they're beating bad teams. And you have to do that. We talked about that last week. Everybody plays those bad teams at some point during the season, and you need to beat them. You certainly need to win the series against them. And if you can pull out a sweep against a team like the Tigers or the A's or something like that, more power to you. But yeah, playing well against good teams is so important, and it's really how you separate yourself from the rest of the pack. And early on in the season, the Phillies were not doing that. They certainly seem to have turned a corner now here in the month of June and have played well against some pretty good teams. So they've got one more game here in Oakland and two pretty good teams coming back, although the Mets are really scuffling right now, but two pretty good teams in the NL East waiting for them back at home. So they got to keep it up. It doesn't get any easier, but certainly you feel a lot more confident the way this offense is playing right now, the way the starting pitching has really stepped up, and the bullpen has been terrific pretty much straight on through. So it's been fun. And, we were hoping this would happen. I think it's 10 of their last 12 or 11 of their last 13.
12 of their last 14.
12 of their last 14. If we were hoping something like that would happen, it's happened. Now we just got to keep it up.
Absolutely. And once again, happy Father's Day to all the great fathers out there. The jobs that you guys do and the children that you're raising, from my dad to my friends and Murph's friends and, family members alike. We are extremely proud of the job that you guys put in, because being a dad is not as hard as being a mom, but hey, it's certainly a lot more fun than what they have to put up with on a daily basis. But this first segment is brought to you by our good friends over at State Farm. When you make the right decision, it feels good, like picking the perfect furniture or choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night TV series binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision too. That's why State Farm agent Dave Bavuso is here to help you select the right protection at the right price. Dave will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. With State Farm agent Dave Bavuso, it's easy to make the right choice. Just call him when you want the real deal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements. You can contact Dave today at 856-740-5012. That's 856-740-5012. All right, last week we awarded tickets for Phillies Royals at the beginning of August, and we're going to award tickets now for the beginning or for a week after that against the Nationals on Thursday, August 10th, a 6:40 p.m. start time, which the Phillies have handled the Washington Nationals ever since they put that tweet out about how difficult it is it is not to beat the Phillies. I think that right there, they should take that tweet back for sure. But last week on the show, we went and we honored the best deadbeat dad on TV or a movie. So this week we're going to, being that it is actual Father's Day, we're going to honor your favorite dad in movies or TV. In order to win, you must answer in the comment section on the Green Legion Radio YouTube channel, the Green Legion Facebook page, or our Twitter handle at Green Legion. Our collective favorite answer will win at the beginning of the final segment of today's show. Murph, start me off. Give me one of your top 5, my friend.
All right. Pretty easy. If you think about my age and when I was a kid watching television, there was one TV dad that I think we all kind of were like, oh man, he's the man. He had 3 kids of his own and then brought in 3 more. Mike Brady on the Brady Bunch. He was the most patient guy on the planet. And so a work from home kind of guy. He's had the kids around all the time. I'm going Mike Brady as one of the dads because that was one of my all-time great shows. So.
All right, sounds great. For me, last week, I think it was Slash that said it was either Slash or Jansen that said that Will Smith's dad in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh yeah.
That he was the deadbeat dad. But the great dad for me out of that show was Uncle Phil. What a great guy. He took in Will, who wasn't his own, but helped raise him into the man that he was. And that moment in the last episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where he tells him, he's like, Sunday, because he was saying how he wanted Will to give him a call on Sundays, just like all his other kids did. And to have that impactful moment. And it's one of the great, the moment that they had when Will's dad walked at him on again. It's one of the great moments in TV in my lifetime. Very powerful moment between the two of them. So Uncle Phil, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah. Uncle Phil. Love Uncle Phil. And then Jansen, do you have one for me?
Have there been any good dads recently?
He wants to know if there's any good dads recently. Yeah, you watch more TV than I do, Murph. Do you have?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't want to give away. I got 2 on my list that are relatively recent.
So why don't we save it then? We'll save it for the final. Yeah, we're going to save that because listen, people die for your top 5 at the end, so we got to make sure. Yeah, no doubt about it. They hang on every word of the top 5, no doubt about it. So, guys, make sure you go to our social media platforms and get your answers in today for a shot at winning Phillies Nationals tickets on August 10th. All right, Murph, let's get out of the box. Let's talk about these fighting Phils. Winners of 5 in a row, 12 of their last 14, 5 straight series wins. They're coming off a 6-1 week since the last time we were together on last week's show at Xfinity Live, and they're now a season best 3 games above 500. With a chance to sweep the A's in Oakland this afternoon with Zach Wheeler on the mound. I don't know about you, Murph, but I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, I think anytime you send Zach out there to the mound, you feel pretty good. I had Zach on the pregame show this week, and we had a really cool conversation about a bunch of different things. But one of the things we talked about was the ability to pitch when you don't have your best fastball. And I think we saw that the last time he was out in Arizona. He was sitting. Well, look, I mean, his not best fastball is still 94, 95, sometimes touching 96, right? But we've seen him obviously get up to 97, 98 kind of thing. And he said, he knows almost immediately, even before he does his bullpen for the game that day, before he goes out to the bullpen to get warmed up, just toss it on the field. He has a feeling, okay, I may not have everything in my arm today, and how am I going to attack this lineup? And it was really interesting to hear him talk about how you go about doing that. And he's become, he was a thrower, as most young guys are, and he's become a pitcher. And to watch him use all of his different pitches and change speeds and use both sides of the plate, pitch up and pitch down, and to watch him do that. I think he's emerged as one of the better pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. And so, yeah, obviously you send him out to the mound on any given day and you feel pretty good about your chances. This A's lineup is not one of the best in baseball, as we've seen. And they've really struggled over the last couple of days as well. So, in terms of going to 6-1 on this road trip and keeping this win streak alive, I think you got to feel pretty good about sending Zach Wheeler out there today.
Yeah, I mean, his last start against Arizona now wound up being a blowout. I mean, 15-3, but what he does for that starting rotation, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned, and the strikeouts are always there with Zach Wheeler on one of those starts. But a 2.96 ERA since he signed his free agent contract with the Phillies, like you just said right there, his velocity was down in his last start, but he just has a way of throwing those secondary pitches, the off-speed pitches now for strikes. That sweeper has been a much, welcome addition to his arsenal this season. And I'll tell you what, when history, when revisionist history comes around, when his contract is up and he's no longer a Philly, or we extend his contract and he winds up retiring a Philly somewhere down the line, this free agent contract will go down as one of the greatest in Philly's history, just based off of how he has performed since he signed that contract. It's such a damn shame that 2020 was only held to 60 games that season, because think about how much more he would be, expanding on those numbers if we would have had him for a full season as compared to that shortened season that year.
Yeah, you're right about that. And, you have to tip your cap to Matt Klentak, former general manager of the Phillies, easily the best move he made in his tenure. And if you remember, there were a couple of good free agent pitchers out on the market during that time. And the Phillies went after Zach Wheeler, gave him a very good contract, but they were kind of betting on the idea that he was going to be better than he was with the New York Mets, that his upside was significantly more than what he had shown so far. And man, oh man, were they right? He has taken a step forward, couple big steps forward over the last couple of years, and really kind of solidified himself in that top echelon of pitchers in Major League Baseball. So yeah, it's was a great signing. It was worth every penny. They got to a World Series in large part thanks to Zach Wheeler. And hopefully they can get to another one before it's all said and done this season. So, yeah, a great move. And, that particular era of signings and drafting wasn't the best, but certainly Zach Wheeler was a good one.
No doubt about it. And then speaking of another free agent signing, how about Taijuan Walker over the last week? Two starts from last Sunday against the Dodgers, and then the first game of this series against Oakland. Just incredible numbers. Giving them 8 innings on Friday night, which is his longest start in the last 6 years. He's only given up 7 earned runs over his last 6 starts with a 1.5 ERA in the month of June. What have they done to course correct Taijuan Walker since that start in Queens where he looked like he completely fell apart? His velocity was down. He just didn't have it. I think he pitched 3 2/3 or 4 innings that day, against his former team that afternoon and leading to a sweep of the Mets against the Phillies. What have they done to get Taijuan Walker back on the right track? Because he's been phenomenal since that standpoint.
Yeah, it's interesting. I asked that exact question to Phillies assistant pitching coach Brian Kaplan on Friday here in Oakland. And he had a really interesting answer, because what he said was that he said it really was all Taijuan. He came to them after that Mets game. And, this has been reported that he just didn't feel like he could get his body loose at that point. He felt really tight, especially in the hip region, in where a pitcher gets a lot of his power is down low with the legs. And he just did not feel, as he said, like an athlete that day. And Taijuan Walker, for folks that don't know, is a massive man, right? And a terrific athlete. And he just wasn't feeling himself. And to Taijuan's credit, he went to the strength and conditioning guys. He went to the medical staff, and he said, I need to get my body looser. I need to do things to loosen things up. And one of the things that Taijuan suggested was that in between his starts, he go out and play a little infield, play a little outfield, run around, shagging flies, taking ground balls at first base, taking throws at first base, stretching, doing all those kinds of things, just going out and being an athlete and allowing his body to feel as though it was athletic. And ever since then, it has worked. It has awoken the athlete inside Taijuan Walker. And I asked Brian Friday, I said, so, it really wasn't anything mechanical that you guys saw? And he said, honestly, you can call it what you want, maybe freeing up the hips a little bit, allowing them to get around a little bit more, getting a little bit more torque and getting a little bit more power. If you want to call that mechanical, so be it. But for Brian, it was like Taijuan recognized he just needed his body to feel better and more athletic in order to pitch the way he wants to pitch. And that's what we've seen. It really is kind of remarkable. Let's hope he can keep it up. But he has been outstanding over the last couple starts.
Has this been something that he's done at previous stops where he's been at? Like, is this something that he was doing with the Mets? Was he doing this with the Mariners? I mean, like, this is news to me. Like, when I look at Taijuan Walker, and like you said, massive human being. I mean, I remember when we were in Colorado a month ago, I was sitting, he was that Friday night when he was starting, I was sitting 3 rows behind the Phillies dugout. Huge guy. It looks like a golf ball, like in his hands. It's a way he can just palm a baseball is insane. But is this something that where like he felt like this was something that he used to do at his other spots, like where he used to be a starting pitcher? Like, hey, I want to get back to doing this. This is something that I haven't been doing since I've been here. Like, you tell me.
Well, I don't know the answer to that, whether or not he's done it before. If I had to guess, I would say at some level, yes, he's probably recognized that his body's not feeling the way he wants it to feel. So he went out and did what he needed to do to kind of get it back to the way he wants it to feel. At the major league level, you have so much information, you have so much help, you have so many people that are there for you to help you get to the point you need to be. And he certainly relied on our outstanding strength and conditioning coaches and our athletic trainers and stuff to help him get back quickly to where he needed to be. Because if you remember, it really was, he had the Mets game and then he went and he threw a bullpen. And I remember after that bullpen, him saying he felt so much better. And then, you take that with a grain of salt until he gets back out there on the mound and does it against an opponent. But then he did. And, it was really a matter of 2 or 3 days that the staff was able to get him feeling good. And like I said, he's been out on the field during infield practice, taking ground balls, playing a little first base, just going out there. And as Brian said in our conversation the other day, just going out there and being a kid again and just like playing the game like you do when you're a kid, running around and just having fun in between, and not taking, that mentality of I'm a major league starting pitcher and all I can do is think about my arm and all I can do, he's just out there enjoying himself and while doing that, keeping that body fresh of his. And that's been all the difference in the world.
Great starting pitching over the last couple of weeks for sure. And Aaron Nola is in his own right had a really good start the other day. I became frustrated with that third inning and giving up the 3-run shot. It's 11 straight starts now where Aaron has given up a home run, which is one away from tying the franchise mark of 12 in a row set by Randy Wolf back in 2000, according to the Athletics' Matt Gelb. What is going on with Aaron with these innings? Why are they happening? It just seems like that one inning kills him every single start, and it's becoming frustrating for fans and the radio hosts alike here. I know you've been a big defender of Aaron over the years that we've been doing this program the last 3 years, and he's come up big in big moments and big spots and big games. But what is going on with the long ball this year? Because I would assume it's got to become more frustrating for him than anybody else.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Nobody is as frustrated as Aaron Nola when those kinds of things happen. I think it's important to remember that, a home run, as Charlie Manuel used to like to say, a home run is just a fly ball that ends up over the fence, right? The problem that Aaron has faced isn't so much allowing the home runs. If he allowed 11 straight solo home runs, we wouldn't even be talking about this. The problem is that for whatever reason this season, he's allowing base runners ahead of it. And either whether it's working from the stretch or whether it's the timer, whatever the case may be, he seems to kind of lose his best stuff when there's guys on base. And he allows the home run then, and then a 3-run home run certainly is a heck of a lot different than a solo shot. So, it's been frustrating for him for sure, because nobody works harder than Aaron Nola on this team. That is documented. That he is a guy that just puts in so much time and so much work on his craft. But I think it's also important to remember that, if you say before a game that Aaron Nola is going to allow 5 hits and 3 runs in 8 innings, we would sign up for that almost every time, and just because it comes all in one inning or it comes on a 3-run home run, it doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't have a good start. And his last start was a good one. Yeah. He, for whatever reason, that one inning, he struggled a little bit, but he was able to, kind of get it back together and give the Phillies length and keep the Phillies in the game. And the Phillies offense able to put up, I think the final score was 4-3, if I'm not more, 5-3 maybe in that game. So they were able to do enough to get the job done. So, we'd like to see Aaron be a little sharper than he has been. Yeah, I think a little bit more consistent for sure, but I'm not too concerned about Aaron Nola. I still think he is a guy that you can count on every 5 days. Certainly, he's a guy that you can count on every 5 days to go out there and give you a chance to win. And, it hasn't been conventional this year, but he seems to be getting stronger over the course of the season, much like Zach Wheeler, and hopefully that continues.
Don't hang out alone in the man cave for baseball this season. Try hanging out at Cheerleaders with Sexy Entertainers, $4 domestic beers, Jameson specials, and awesome game day experiences all season long. That's right. Stop in before, during, or after the game, not only to see your favorite entertainers, but also your chance to have the best game day experience. Cheerleaders is open daily from noon until 2 a.m. All right, coming up on the other side, we're going to dive into a couple other things. I can say goodbye to a Philadelphia Philly after 19 years because the best catcher in baseball finally did something that no other Philly couldn't in that time frame. And I need to know what's going on with Murph's wallet. We'll find out on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. We'll be right back right after this.
Yeah, those two full of crap. I'm the least cheap guy on the broadcast team. The least, by far. Which is why they say it.
I'm giving you an opportunity to defend yourself.
Yeah. It's all good shtick. Yeah, I'm to a fault. I'm not cheap. And my ex-wife used to kill me about it. She's like, "Why are you always paying? Why are you always paying?"
Dude, that's my wife all the time. All the time.
I like doing it. It's like
why can't anybody else pick it up? How come you're the one that's always buying the tickets? All the time.
Yeah. But so anyway, that's Fransky. He's trouble.
I don't know. He was saying that Tom McCarthy was trouble.
Oh, Tom McCarthy's trouble. There's no doubt about that.
Apparently, T-Mac was holding the door on the bathroom on Wednesday night, so Stock couldn't get out.
The security guard in Arizona was just a prince, and
was it Gino?
So Tom was just making it worse. That's all, as he often does. You know what? I need another. Can you believe it?
If you Google one, they normally pop up. I got a bunch of deadbeat dads last week.
Oh, no. Can you believe it? I need.
Oh, okay. What's time we got?
1:15.
That's fine.
Desert for the Phillies. He's got a cycle. It's the first one for the Phillies since 2004.
Love it. Love it.
God, I'm good at my job.
It'll pay off for you someday, buddy. You're young enough to see it through.
Yeah, I'm not that young. I'm too old now. I'm almost 30 years old, all right?
What? Joe DeCamera didn't hit it big until what? He was like in his mid-30s. That's a good lip. Well, you're better than half the hacks on that station. Oh, please, are you kidding me?
Here we go. Hold on.
Welcome back. Second segment here on this beautiful Father's Day in the Delaware Valley. Once again, happy Father's Day to all of you out there that do the job and do it well. Premier Window Cleaning is the leading window cleaning company in Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. Family owned and operated with 30 years experience. They offer commercial, residential, window cleaning, pressure washing, parking garage cleaning, graffiti removal, post-construction cleaning. Every employee is trained, certified, and goes through an extensive background check. At Premier Window Cleaning, your satisfaction level needs to be 100%, as no job is complete until you're happy. Clients like Chop Roberts to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. You cannot go wrong. For more information and a full list of their services, give them a call, 267-534-5198. That's 267-534-5198. Or go to their website, wehatedirtywindows.com. That's wehatedirtywindows.com. Yes, you heard the highlight as we came back in with Tom McCarthy announcing that for the first time in 19 years, a Philadelphia Philly has hit for the cycle thank you, JT Realmuto, personally, because my friends have made my life a living hell for the last 19 years of having to hear about David Bell, which, by the way, the Cincinnati Reds are playing great baseball under his leadership there, and they weren't supposed to do anything, but they've won 7 in a row. But still, I am happy to say that he is no longer the last Philly to hit for the cycle. Now we can turn our attention to a great Philly, a true great Philly, with JT Realmuto being responsible for that distinction, which actually, Murph, it should not have lasted this long. All right, because I believe it was about 9 years ago, okay, Ryan Howard in Colorado hit a ball to right field that they called an error. It was a single and a one-base error where he wound up on second base, and he didn't even touch the ball. Like, if that was in Philadelphia, the scorer in Philadelphia would have said it was a double. Like, they normally don't give any errors to an outfielder at all, if ever. Like Trey Turner the other day. How was that a double? That was not a double. I mean, it had to be an error on one of them colliding with each other. That's not a double.
Scoring nowadays is just atrocious.
Oh.
And you're right. So they would have scored Howard's double back then, and he would have gotten the job done. But yeah, you know what? It was cool to see. To me, the best thing about the JT Realmuto cycle was his post-game comments, where he was asked, how cool was that? And he goes, it was a cool accomplishment, but we lost, so it kind of sucks. And to me, that is just, even when he got to second base after hitting the double and he looked in the dugout, and the dugout's going crazy and they're jumping up and down, he gave one of these, but he knew, here we are, we're trailing in this game. And this is not a time for me to pound on my chest and be proud of an individual accomplishment. Had they won the game, maybe he feels it, a little bit more. But that's what I love about JT Realmuto is that, yeah, that's great, but here's what I want. And they didn't get the win that night. So for him, it was a little bit disappointing. So I just love that. I love it.
I thought your favorite part about that was the text message that I sent to you about how I was thankful that Topper didn't listen to my advice on last Sunday show.
Yeah.
About it wasn't really advice. It was just more like, get him off his feet, get him away from.
You demanded that Topper sit JT Realmuto's ass down and not play him on that particular Monday, the Monday that he hit for the cycle. So yeah, that's what that was.
Some of us have bad takes. That's probably my worst one. That's probably my worst one in the 2.5 years we've been doing this show.
It wasn't great.
No, it was not great, but I'm thankful that he was not listening to this show. Speaking of Rob Thompson, congratulations to him on his 100th win as a manager on this past Thursday against the Diamondbacks. Like you said, it's kind of the opposite of JT. Like JT's accomplishment came in a team loss, even though he made it a close game just by all the things that he did in that game, which was just absolutely insane. Rob Thompson actually got to revel in it because you can't get 100 victories without having to win one, 1 to 100 first. But that's great. That's a great accomplishment by a great man, a great manager, a guy that I'm happy to see leading this team, and a guy that I know you enjoy working with on a daily basis.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was either the exact same day or one day apart that was the anniversary of him also getting inducted in the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. So he got his 100th win, I think 3 or 4 years to the day after being inducted into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, which is kind of cool. But that June 3rd date, for whatever reason, is a magical date for Rob Thompson and the Phillies. It's when he took over last year and they started their run, and it's when they started this particular run this year. So we're all just, let's hang out in the month of June for a while. It's all good, for hitters, for pitchers, for managers. I love it.
Me too. And that, I'll tell you what, a guy that is making a case to join Nick Castellanos in Seattle for this year's All-Star game, man, Bryson Stott, what a season he's having. And if you want to look at it, what he's done in the years since Rob Thompson has become manager, being given the reins at the time to play shortstop position, and then he had to jump to second base for Gene Segura when he got hurt, and then he went back to shortstop, finishing out the year, and then they come to him in the offseason, they go, hey, listen, we want to sign Trey Turner. What do you feel about playing second base? And he says, I'd like playing in the major leagues. consummate professional. What a great kid. 25 years old. The sky is the limit for Bryson Stott. Current day and in the future, this kid is scrappy. He's a gamer, a ball player. Man, I'm happy to have him on our side because yesterday he had 2 big hits, one to tie the game, an infield hit, and then the sac fly that put the Phillies up for good in the 12th. What a great player he's turning out to be.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. And, I've said this on the air a couple of times to both Kevin Stocker and Larry Anderson on the postgame show. It seems like every time Bryson Stott gets an opportunity in a clutch situation, he comes through. And I haven't gone back and looked at his actual numbers in high leverage situations, but I bet you it is well above league average in terms of coming through, whether it just be what he did yesterday, and that's hit a fly ball to the outfield to get the run home, or, lay down a bunt to move a runner, or get a base hit, or hit a walk-off home run. He's done it all now in his very, very young career. And it just seems like he thrives in those moments. And, this is a guy that they were trying to protect from left-handers. And still, to an extent, they are trying to protect him from left-handers. But I think we're getting to the point where you don't even need to do that. He's proven that he can hit lefties and righties. And, and his defense has been terrific since the day he stepped on the field in the big leagues, whether it be shortstop or second. So he is turning into an outstanding player. And you're right. I think he deserves some all-star consideration this year for sure.
I got a couple injury updates that I'd like to get from you. Seranthony Dominguez went on the injured list surprisingly the other day because he had that bounce back effort on Thursday, coming in, getting that big strikeout against Christian Walker after giving up the 3-run shot the night before. Left oblique strain. Is this the 15-day IL? Is this like during the course of it, like 15 days? Are we looking more time? I know with a hitter, normally it's, it could be anywhere from like 3 to 4 weeks. We saw it last year with Castellanos late in the season. What's the time frame looking like on Seranthony's return?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty early in the process to really put a timetable on it. But Rob Thompson said yesterday they are hopeful and they think that it will not be too much longer after he's able to come off the 15-day IL that he will be available. So they don't think it's anything. It's very mild strain, but they wanted to knock it out and take care of it right now. Give Seranthony a little bit of a break too, right? It's not the worst thing in the world in the middle of the season to get him off his feet and give his arm a little bit of a rest. So, apparently it happened with like his third to last pitch or second to last pitch in that outing. And he was terrific in that outing, kind of a redemption kind of situation for him. And he was able to get the job done. So tweaked it a little bit. It doesn't sound like it's very serious, but it is going to keep him on the shelf for a couple of weeks. So in the meantime, some other guys are going to have to step up in those high leverage situations.
Andrew Painter threw a 20-pitch bullpen session this past Tuesday. He was slated to throw another one on Friday. Do you have any update on his status?
Yeah, as far as I know, he threw it on Friday and all went well. I didn't hear any differently. I'm trying to think back to our conversations, but the next step for Andrew Painter will be at some point they're going to have to stretch him out a little bit more. He's only throwing 25 pitches in these bullpens now. So I would imagine the next step would maybe be, 35 pitches or 40 pitches perhaps. And then at some point he's going to have to start seeing some live hitters as well. Andrew Painter's still a little ways away for sure from being out on the mound, participating in a game, whether it be in a rehab assignment or, at some point, hopefully at the big league level. But, so he's still, we're looking probably at the month of August before we can really have conversations about Andrew Painter being able to join this rotation, perhaps. But the good news is that he seems to be pain-free. He seems to be progressing really well from that elbow injury. And that's ultimately the most important thing.
Real quick, I just want your opinion on this. Do you think that at this point in the season, I know we're midway through June here. We still have plenty of time left in the season. But is there going to get to a point? I mean, I know they want to have that electric arm somewhere on this staff. Do you think there's any possibility that the Phillies might do what the Rays did back in 2008 and might just kind of bubble wrap him, put him in the bullpen, maybe use him like once every couple days, like never use him in a back-to-back spot, but at least you have him, available and his stuff available, and you don't have to worry about maybe putting him out there for too many innings and high leverage situations down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean, I think anything's possible, honestly. I think in a perfect world, in a perfect scenario, they stretch him out and he becomes your fifth starter. But that might not be in the cards for 2023. So perhaps they look at him as more of a 2 or 3 inning kind of guy that can go out there and pitch out of the bullpen. Perhaps they look at him as an opener. I think anything is on the table. But until he proves that he is 100% healthy and they get him, stretched out to a point where they feel comfortable using him in game situations, they're probably not even thinking about those situations yet. They're probably just more concerned with, let's get him back and get him to the point where he can actually compete, and then we'll figure out how we use him.
So I'm going to give you a chance to defend yourself because after listening to the broadcast a couple times this week, and Scott Fransky and Kevin Stocker do a phenomenal job together on the radio broadcast, but sometimes they like to take shots at my radio partner, and
right.
So your colleagues were talking about you and your wallet. So from Fransky in LA on Twitter the other day, Kevin Stocker said there is an issue with Murph and his wallet, to which Scott Fransky responded, "What? It's always empty," which is falsehood because I know I paid you last week. From Quimby, giving me a check for these shows. But I believe they brought it back up on Thursday when I was mowing the lawn. So what's going on? And can you also provide us an update on the away team radio booth possum? Was he ever caught? And did you see the skeleton if he wound up dying there?
You know what? It hasn't even come up, to be quite honest with you, because the booth here in Oakland is actually pretty nice. And you know what? We haven't even talked about it, or at least I haven't talked about it with anybody. You bringing it up, honestly, is the first I've thought about it since we've been here. So I don't have any kind of update, but here's what I can tell you. No smell and no skeletal remains that I've seen. So, he's either been caught or he moved to San Fran. I don't know. Maybe he got a better gig or something like that. I don't know. But so no sign of the possum. I'm sorry. I don't have any update on that. As far as the other thing, here's what I can tell you. I sit in between those two clowns while they're calling the game, right? And they both have microphones, and I do not. And they take full advantage of that. I can't rebut anything they say while the game is happening. Well, sometimes I do. I yell in the background. But so they like to take poetic license with reality. And, here's what I can tell you. I am totally comfortable in my own skin when it comes to my wallet and how often I open it up for those two clowns and others. And here's what I would say. They wouldn't take shots at me like that if the opposite were true. Like if it was really true, I don't think they would say it.
They were going to be calling you cheap on air.
Exactly. If I was really cheap. So that's my only defense, but it's all good. It's all good. What comes around, I'm going to get a chance to jump on that play-by-play mic in a couple of weeks, and no holds barred.
Oh, Scott takes his vacation.
That's right. So I have a list of things that I'm going, a laundry list of things that I'm going to correct as those couple of days go.
The thing is, do you honestly think Scott's going to be listening?
You know what? You'd be surprised.
Okay.
He often will. I mean, he'll be on vacation with his family, so he's not going to stop what they're doing to listen to the game, but he'll often go back and listen because I ask him to. I don't get a chance to do play-by-play very often. In my 10 years of TV and radio with the Phillies, I probably only have done, maybe 40 games or something like that. So I always ask those guys to give me their thoughts and critiques. And, it's the only way you can get better. And so Scott's great with that. And he'll go back and he'll listen and he'll give me some thoughts. So.
Love it. Hey, listen, it's time to make your reservations for another amazing Eagle season. Head to greenlegion.com to get signed up for Tampa, LA, Kansas City, Dallas, and Seattle, and get signed up for day trip games for the Jets, the Giants, and the Commodes. Make sure you check out the cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club bus for those day trips as well. greenlegion.com or call 215-666-5940. That's 215-666-5940. 21 years and counting for the best Eagles road trips around. All right, on the other side, we finished things up. Murph got that all-important half point last week, but how did he fare in the standings? We'll find out on the other side right here on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. This is Bud Light Baseball Brunch. We'll be right back after this.
He fared well. I went 2-1 again, right?
You went 2-1, but you got 1.5 points.
Yeah, that's all right. What did you do?
I leave the point on the run sheet. The point standings are always right there for you. You can see what we point. We get points for.
I know. No. I'm not complaining about it. I understand. But what was your record last week?
I went 2-1 too. We both missed on our underdogs last week, but you lost a half a point because you went with a 220 favorite.
Yeah. Well, I finally think I have a grasp on the rules, so I made sure that my underdog today was not that.
I appreciate you, partner, because we've been doing these rules the last year and a half. Not the last week and a half,
Priorities, right? Like I can only put so much into my brain. So
what?
It's all right. I'm gonna slow and steady wins the race. I'm gonna end up with more points than you. I have no doubt.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, none.
I enjoy the competition. Let's go. Everybody wants to be cool. All right. I don't think I've got any more, right? Got a lot of contestants this week there, Murph.
Oh, yeah? Good.
Just gonna have to sift through the wreckage to find out, because normally I have Sam or Slash telling me who's who at the zoo, so I'm not going to congratulate anybody on air today. Congratulations! I'll figure out who the hell you are. Do.
All right, so picks first, right? Or no, list.
No,
first?
we'll do. Yeah, we'll award the tickets. You do your top 5, and then I'll give you the candidates.
Okay,
and then we'll pick, and then we'll go into our picks for today. Can you believe it? Wrap this bitch up.
Sounds like a plan. I gotta hop on a bus.
You can say bitch on air, right? Try to keep it clean.
I think you could say
Quimby says it. Quimby says it religiously.
I know these FCC rules well, and I never.
I feel like they're different for certain shows. Like the stuff that I hear Preston and Steve say.
Well, they know exactly what they're allowed to say. They know every word they are allowed to say and aren't.
They make so much money.
They make so much money. Yeah,
no. I think it's the opposite. They're smart enough to know that if they say this word, then their contract's going to be null and void, and they're not going to make another penny for the rest of their lives. But they do enough.
There is,
yeah.
What's that?
Hey, listen. When you put up the ratings and the type of stuff that they do, good for them.
Here we go.
Coming back.
Here we go.
Welcome back. Final segment, Father's Day edition. Bud Light Baseball Brunch, 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. We're going to wrap this puppy up and get Murph on that bus on his way over to the beautiful accommodations of Oakland Coliseum, which you can't get on that plane any faster to get out of Oakland.
It's funny. Everyone says that this Oakland Coliseum is terrible. It is absolutely not one of the 5 worst ballparks in America.
Are you serious?
I mean, look, it needs.
I can look at it from the television and know it's still awful 19 years after I was there.
No, the playing surface is as nice as it gets. The bowl itself, when you're out watching the game, it's nice. It's decent. The concourse, yes, they're old. They could do with a little TLC, and they're not going to get it because they're not going to put any money into it. But there are a lot worse ballparks in America than Oakland Coliseum.
Okay, all right. Here's your homework for next week's show. I want you to put together 5 ballparks that are worse than Oakland Coliseum.
Well, Tropicana, for one, it's not even close.
I saw the Phillies. I saw the Phillies win Game 1 of the World Series there. That's why it's ahead of it.
It's an awful place to watch a game. I would tell you that Arizona's not as good as the Oakland Coliseum. In terms of playing and watching the game, I would give me Oakland rather than Arizona.
E&J Mobile Cigar Lounge. They can be found on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at EJ Mobile Cigar Lounge. Their website, ejmobilecigarlounge.com. You can come. They'll come to you for any occasion or event. They are the premier luxury mobile cigar and hookah lounge in the Philadelphia area. Call or text EJ today, 215-806-3999. That's 215-806-3999. Murph, let's give away these tickets. Phillies Nationals, Thursday, August 10th. The best or your favorite movie, TV, dad, whatever collaboration. Give me the rest of your top 5 because we got a nice list right here.
All right. I gave you Mike Brady already. That was from my childhood. Great dad on the Brady Bunch. From a much newer era, a guy that I think he's one of the funniest characters on television, and I think he's an awesome dad. Phil Dunphy from
Phil, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
He's just he makes me laugh every time he opens his mouth. And everything he does is to be a great dad. So,
dude, when him and his wife are role playing, and he's Clive, it's just
tremendous. Everything he does is funny. I love Phil.
He's the best part. He's the best
character.
part of that show. There's so many great elements to it. But me and Rach, we die every single time. Yeah. He just opens up his mouth.
Okay, yeah, totally agree. All right, Eugene Levy's character in American Pie.
Yes.
He is the consummate dad. Now, his methods are questionable sometimes, but it all comes from a good place. And you know what? All he wants to do is be the best dad he can for his son. And so I give him the nod. I almost put Eugene Levy on the list twice because I think his character in Schitt's Creek is equally a great dad. But I'm going to go with the American Pie Eugene Levy as on my list.
It's a great list so far, sans Mike Brady.
Okay. Well, yeah, but you're too young for that. That's Ted Lasso, who I think is, you wouldn't think originally great dad, because here he is going, leaving the country and leaving his son in the United States to go and take over the soccer team in England. But I think ultimately over the course of the 3 seasons, you see what a great father he is. And I don't want to give anything away, but the season, the series is over at this point. And so I think Ted Lasso, one of the new modern dads, gets to be on the list.
That's finally, one show that I want to watch. I got to watch.
And you should. You should. It's an outstanding show. And then finally, to me, this really is the only right answer. So if anyone said this, in my opinion, they win. Clark Griswold. I mean, he is the greatest dad of all time. I mean, they just don't make him like that anymore. And
no, they
Clark
don't.
Griswold is number 1 with a bullet on my list. So
you would be in luck because that is on the list. But I will go down the list here. Alan Matthews from Boy Meets World, which is more my era of watching television. Sonny from Big Daddy, which is Adam Sandler's character. Danny Tanner, Full House. Carl Winslow, Family Matters. Clark W. Griswold, National Lampoons. Mike Brady, Brady Bunch. Walter White, Breaking Bad, George Bailey from It's a Wonderful Life.
Walter
Burgess,
White. What? Worst dad ever.
George.
God, that's a terrible name.
We're going over time today. Burgess Meredith, Pop from Grumpy Old Men. Al Bundy, who was also in the Deadbeat Dad portion of this program last week, Married with Children. Homer Simpson, which should have been on the Deadbeat Dad last week as well from The Simpsons. And George McFly from Back to the Future. I will not be voting for that because I'm not that big on George.
We have a twisted audience at some level. That's
you should see the message board because it's definitely crazier than that. All right. So you're going Clark W. Griswold out of this list. All right. Oh God. I always like to be.
Come on. It's a no-brainer.
I want it to be different, but looking at the list, I'm gonna have to go Clark W. Griswold from National Lampoons.
They don't make you like you used to, Clark.
They don't. Those movies are classic. They're great. Yeah. They're awesome. So congratulations. I'll find out whoever the hell said that, and I'll get you the tickets right away. But we have to
find out who said Walter White too, just for spits and giggles.
All right. Well, while you're giving me your picks, I'll try and scroll up and down this board here because I don't have Slash, who just seems to be on vacation every Sunday, or Super Sam Brady, who's now enjoying the accommodations of Seattle City. So Murph, our picks last week.
Yeah.
Okay. So you took the easy way out with getting a half a point, though. You went 2-1 in the standings, but you got 1.5 points because you took the -220 Diamondbacks to beat the Tigers.
Yeah.
So that puts you at 15 and. Yeah,
for the record,
15 and
we're
9.
allowed to do that.
You're allowed, but you took a half point.
You're making it sound like I'm not allowed to do it. I wanted the half point. I got it.
Went after the half point. You didn't even know that it was a half point. You were trying to do the cheap stuff that you used to do 2 years ago, but it's okay. 15 and 9 with 17.5 points on the season. I had a 2-1 week, scoring 2 more points in the process. I avoid the half point at all costs. So both of us missed out on our underdog picks last week. So I went 16 and 8, and I'm 21 points in the standings. Murph, who is your first pick today?
Wait, what am I? What's my record in points?
I just gave it to you. 17 and a half. 17 and a half.
Okay. All right. I'm getting there. Okay. First up for me, favorite. I'm taking this line was weird to me, and you know a lot more about this stuff than I do. But I'm looking at I know the Reds have played really good baseball over the last couple of days, but the Astros and the Reds playing today, and the Astros are favorite, but only at -155, which I feel like they should be a much heavier favorite in this game, which probably means I should pick the Reds. But I'm taking Houston -155 as my favorite today.
All right, I'm going to stick in the American League West myself. I'm going to go with the Rangers -130 at home versus Toronto. They've split the first 2 in the series. Chris Bassett versus John Gray. John Gray is 6-2 with a 2.32 ERA this year. Might be going to Seattle for the All-Star game because the Rangers have been so good. So I'm going to take the Rangers as my favorite. Who do you have as your underdog?
Okay, my underdog again. This is an odd one. The line didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but again, I don't know a whole lot. So the Rays, best team in baseball all season long, taking on the Padres, a team that everyone expected to be one of the best teams in baseball. The Rays are underdogs here, +118. So I'm taking the Rays at +118 over the Padres.
See, mine is like fringe favorite. I mean, like the Cubs, they seem to be a pain in the butt for just about anybody, especially the Phillies. The Cubs are +100 at home with a chance to sweep the Orioles. Now, I've had the Orioles as my favorite the last 2 weeks, so I've been riding the hot streak there. But the Orioles are only -120 with the better starting pitcher. They have Dean Kramer versus Jameson Taillon, who's been terrible for the Cubs. Why is that line so low for the better team? I'm taking the Cubs at +100 to sweep the series, and you're over-under.
All right, over-under, Braves and Rockies. I know we're both picking this game, but we're on opposite sides. The line is 9.5, and I'm going over Braves and Rockies. I think they're going to score a ton of runs. I don't see any other way, but you have other thoughts, obviously.
Yeah, I'm taking the under on 9.5 here for Rockies, Braves, and Atlanta. 2 former Philly greats on the mound, Chase Anderson and Charlie Morton. So I'm going to take the under. I think after the offensive explosion by the Braves yesterday, I got to take the under on today's game. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Two things we found interesting from this past week in Major League Baseball. Murph, give me your first one.
All right, first one has to do with JT Realmuto. We know that he hit for the cycle this week. How about this? In his career, JT is homered in the All-Star game, hit an inside-the-park home run, and hit for the cycle. Only one other player in Major League history has accomplished all of that, and that is Lou Gehrig. How about that? Good company.
I had that one too.
Yeah.
But I have this one to go along with it. So it's been a long time since Vladimir Guerrero has hit a home run in Toronto. He has yet to hit a home run at Rogers Center in 2023. His last home run in Toronto came 260 days ago. Now, this was effective yesterday on September 30th against the Red Sox. The last time he's hit a home run in Toronto.
That's interesting. Did not know that. All right. Here we go. Shohei Ohtani leading the Angels in
insane
hitting, batting average, home run, RBIs, on-base percentage, slugging, OPS, triples, stolen bases, wins, ERA, innings pitched, strikeouts per 9, whip, batting average, and B-WAR, whatever that is. But he leads in all those categories for the Angels. It's amazing. He's an amazing player.
Yes, he is. The only thing he doesn't lead them statistically in is saves, and he could probably do that too.
No doubt.
This one is courtesy of Sarah Langs. So yesterday the Giants put a whooping. It wasn't a great day for the Dodgers. They had riot, they had protests, and they had police, and it didn't look good on the field either. They lost 15-0, which was the Giants' second largest shutout win over the Dodgers in the history of the rivalry, behind only July 3rd, 1949, when they beat them 16-0 at the Polo Grounds.
Wow. Fighting Gabe Kapler.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, they're playing well. That was my sleeper, sleeper team this year. So Murph, looking at the week ahead, big week. We have a chance today with Zach Wheeler to sweep the A's in Oakland. We have the day off tomorrow, 3 against the Braves, which the Braves are ticking me off because we won 6 in a row when they won 7 in a row. We've won 5 in a row while they won 5 in a row. So if there's any opportunity for us to make up some ground, it's this week against the Braves and the Mets coming into town next week. Decisions back, and they're scuffling themselves.
Yeah, they just got Pete Alonso back. That just came across the wire now.
Wow, that was fast.
Alonso, yeah, it was fast, much earlier than anticipated. So Alonso reinstated. That'll certainly help the Mets. They need him. But you're right. It's going to be a big week back at Citizens Bank Park. Obviously, the Phils play better at home than they do on the road, or at least early in this season. So hopefully they can make some hay against the Braves. You're right, because the two teams that have been as hot or hotter than the Phillies during this stretch have been the Braves and the Marlins, the two teams the Phillies are trying to catch. So they haven't made up a whole lot of ground, but that's okay. That's okay. The way this team is playing right now is what you want to be seeing at this point. Especially
with the way the starting pitching is lined up going into that series. The Phillies lined up, outside of Zach Wheeler, pitching next week against the Mets, it couldn't line up any better. And this is now the time and the place for them. Taijuan Walker and Aaron Nola, really going to need them. And Ranger Suarez has been fantastic. We didn't get to talk about him earlier in the show, but Murph, again, happy Father's Day to you and your family. And hopefully, we get a win today and enjoy the flight back and enjoy your day off tomorrow. And so for Greg Murphy, for John Jansen producing us here today, I'm Chris Sack. And like a 3-1 pitch to Ryan Howard, we are out of here. Let's go Phillies. Break out the brooms today in Oakland.
All right. Thanks, fellers.
No, thank you, brother.
All right.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
All right. Well, what did he say?
You're so
No, he was